amazing morning and welcome to Ways Breakfast hashtag. What are you saying? The ultimate breakfast show for young and vibrant minds. Kickstart your week with us as we dive into thought-provoking conversations on politics and national interests, trending issues and social commentary, physical and mental wellness, tech trends and innovations, financial literacy, and of course, youth empowerment. You can tune in every Monday morning to Friday for a fresh perspective, engaging discussions, and inspiring stories. I am Okikiola Taiwo Jalupo, and I welcome you to the show, especially as your host. And you know I'm never here alone. I'm with my ever-present ladies. Good morning, God's Beauty. Good morning, Oluchi.
Good morning.
I feel like I need to be calling you guys with your Instagram names, like the lady vibe and what's your name?
Luchi Speaks, bro.
Luchi Speaks, yes. So how are you, Luchi Speaks? How was your week?
Luchi Speaks is doing great. She's looking for a lot of money, and we're on that path. And it's Monday again. I feel excited, and I'm happy to be here to see your faces again.
You're welcome. My face is a blessing to you. You were saying something backstage, and I needed you to like repeat it again. When you were saying that it's all right to say that.
Okay, yes. So I was going through this particular post where they were trying to give us different signs to spot or note an intelligent person. And they said intelligent people are okay with saying they do not know, they do not know responses to particular questions that they are asked. Because we're in a society where everybody wants to be opinionated, to feel like they have it all figured out, all sorted, I have all the answers and information. But intelligent people are okay and not embarrassed to say, I actually do not know about this. Can we discuss something else? Or can you enlighten me instead? And I felt, that's not a very bad
So I think this is what happens. I think this is it here. It depends on the space. No, I'm not coming for you.
No, go ahead. I'd like to hear your point.
I feel like it depends on the space you're in. Do you get what I'm saying? If it's a place where probably you're there to learn. So I don't see a reason why you're pretending or making it look like you know when you actually don't know. So you're supposed to be there to, learn and all of that. But in spaces where you're actually, you're given that power and authority to somehow know a certain thing and you're coming out to say you don't know. Come on now.
But in today's world, even in spaces where you're expected to learn, like conferences and seminars, they will still judge you based on your contribution to whatever discussion is going on, whether through question or observation. It still shows that your mind is present here and you are, in a way, an intellectual person. So even when people do not know, they feel pressure to still want to give an opinion so that they can put up this font of, I sabi something small. Do you get my point?
But that doesn't really qualify. I would not categorically qualify that person as an intelligent person.
Exactly.
I would say that maybe the person is mindful not to say the wrong things or is willing to learn, but not.
So is my fact
intelligent.
Is it wrong? Is that what you're trying to say now?
I think there's just the exception because you were actually saying it in a very absolute manner. That's how I see it.
But I think I want you to get it again. What it says is that intelligent people are okay with saying that they do not know. Some people feel embarrassed when they say I do not know something, and they feel like, oh, maybe you're going to see me differently. But intelligent people are okay with saying I do not know with their full chest, and they don't feel embarrassed about it.
So are you
and
saying
are
you
willing
don't know with
to
your
learn.
full chest?
It depends on the subject matter.
Just imagine what
it depends on the subject matter.
As always, you already know that Mondays are meant for conversations around Nigeria and all its spheres of affairs. And today counts as one of those days. But first, if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now, like, and share the link. Today, we're tackling a critical issue that's been at the forefront of our national conversation, the role of social media in shaping public perception. We are talking journalism versus propaganda. Well, let's go on a break right now. And when we return, we'll come back with today's headlines across the globe. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back from that break. Now let us take a look at news from the pages of today's newspaper. Today we have The Punch, The Vanguard, and of course the New York Times. Starting with The Punch this morning, because I felt like the headlines are really catchy, and there's so much to say. So Oluchi is going to take us through the Punch newspaper.
With pleasure. The major headline reads, marketers may dump Dangote fuel as imported petrol costs 922 naira per litre. Imported PMS landing costs now cheaper than Dangote's price as dealers import 76.84 million litres in 2 days. Wike serial betrayal threat to PDP, says Bauchi government. 22 soldiers, 70 terrorists killed in Borno military operation. Obasa, Assembly tightens security as police promise peaceful plenary today. Below the major headline reads, India shows military might at Republic Day parade. And Zenith Bank raises 350 billion naira from rights issues, public offer. 1.3 billion naira fraud. Police to arraign Obanikoro's son, others on February 27th. Arigbeshola Group quits APC, cites members' expulsion and suspension. I'm sure you can already guess that what I'm going to talk about will be the fuel story, Dangote Refinery, and these private marketers. So there's this contention right here that our private marketers would dump, importing fuel from Dangote, as it seems like importing this fuel or buying fuel from Dangote because importing seems to benefit them more. Let me give you the full details. Oil marketers have revealed that the landing cost of petrol as of Friday was 922 naira. And dealers said that this cost factors in various expenses, including shipping, import, duties, and exchange rate. And this amount is a considerable reduction of 32 naira from the 955 naira per litre offered at the loading gantry of the Dangote refinery. And this decrease in landing cost is expected to influence the price at which petrol is sold to consumers and could increase marketers' interest in returning to petrol import. So the whole point of this story is, I'm still wondering why there's this back and forth. I feel like, I don't know what you think about this, but the whole essence of having the Dangote refinery was to have our importers or private marketers, as they call them now, purchase fuel from our own refinery, which is the Dangote refinery. Dangote refinery is privatized and all of that, but we still like to classify it as our own because we've not had a working refinery for a long time. We've had different refineries, had different problems. But now, Dangote refinery came at a very pressing time when we had back and forth with fuel prices and all. And then we're seeing now that these marketers are going to dump Dangote refinery to purchase fuel from outside, and solely because there is a gap in the price rate. For example, in fact, the gap is very, very hilarious, 32 naira. But of course, when you now put it together, it makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering what the future of Dangote refinery is really looking like. Because from the inception of the whole refinery, I don't think a lot of Nigerians, the government, or even these marketers have embraced the intention of having this refinery. And I'm wondering if this is going to be, if there's a longer vision to this refinery. Because imagine if these marketers are not even purchasing from Dangote himself. How do you see the future of it?
So for me, I don't know how I feel about Dangote refinery. It's more, I see him more as a businessman than
that's what it is.
Let me say philanthropist. Let me put it like that. Because you see that these importers too also know what they're doing. So how can fuel just spike up 1 minute and the next minute they're cutting it down even lower now than Dangote refinery. True. So this is where I feel like competition makes a lot of sense. If I was Dangote refinery, I would still cut it down again. Let's keep doing this back and forth thing. Although there's going to be losses, but it's almost like these things can come down to the point where at least Nigerians can manage. But they're still looking at it from the business angle. 32 naira reduction. That's why people are now dumping Dangote refinery to go and meet these importers. They could have just come to this conclusion from inception. So you know that they're not doing, okay, we are trying to make life maybe worth living for these people. It's all business. For Dangote, it's all business. For these marketers and importers, it's all business for them. So I pray that they figure it out.
But here's my own thoughts on this as well. I think that these prices might drop slightly, but it's still not guaranteed. We have seen the back and forth with these prices. It can look like 922 naira today, right? So it looks like Dangote refinery are the expensive one. And at the end of the day, once it comes down the chain or the ladder, how it goes, you eventually be purchasing this thing beyond outrageous.
No, a lot of petrol stations now are selling at 900 and something.
That's going to last you for 2 weeks.
My only issue with this prices fluctuating is the fact that you put Nigerians in uncertainty. 1 minute I'm getting maybe from mainland to the island at 2,000 naira. The next morning, sometimes the way we even find out that fuel has increased or there's scarcity is by how much we paid that morning.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so why is this? Why is there so much? What's going on? So I feel like if Nigerians know that this is the amount, I said it before that if it's 2,500, you people want us to be buying per liter, and it's going to last 100 years, 200 years. Let everybody put their mind that that's what. Yes, it will also give even companies, businesses like foresight to know that, okay, if I'm going to improve in my capital, if I'm going to do profit, if I'm going to do expenditure and all these things, I know what I'm doing. But then you're putting everybody, everything under uncertainty.
My last thought is, let's not make this important thing become very attractive, because the end point of economic progress is when we're able to balance import and export. So I think that it's a long shot, right?
Nigerians
and this
like imports. That's why we are even importing.
Forward.
We're importing matches.
About import.
Exactly, we're importing toothpick.
We have $1 billion refinery here. It's to make good use of it, and then our economy gets better, not this import and import.
But again, if nobody is actually gaining from all of these things, we'll not be talking about it. Honestly speaking, I don't even want to talk about this whole few thing. Make I no go vex.
So let's just Monday. The way you start your Monday
let's just go exactly. So the New York Times newspaper, the main story located at the top right, we have there shattering the bounds of the Oval Office. And that article examines President Trump's early days in office, highlighting his conventional decision and their broader implications for governance and American norms. Center section, right under the feature of photo and caption, we have the Hamas releases 4 more hostages. And that's not like a good news to me, honestly, because that place says the position next to the image of Daniela. The story details the exchange of 4 Israeli hostages for 200 Palestinian prisoners, reflecting the ongoing tension and negotiation efforts. I mean, it's better for negotiation than for us to be talking about war. So I feel like that's a good news there. Then center-left story, we have the marijuana push to limit in a race for profit. So this discusses the commercialization of cannabis, focusing on high-potency THC products and their potential health risks. And honestly speaking, when I saw it made me remember the video I saw yesterday on Instagram where Omale was saying that he doesn't smoke cigarettes but prefers marijuana. Okay. And next to that,
interesting.
Next to that, but the right story, we have the technology that could fuel Trump's immigration offensive. So this covers the use of advanced technologies like biometrics and AI to strengthen United States immigration policies. Honestly speaking, I don't know if you guys saw that video on social media where you see a lot of people running. Trump actually, he's actually big on this whole immigration thing. A lot of people are going back to their countries now. They are really deporting them, And the fact that they're not bringing technology to it is not quite amazing because, one, the FBI and every other person on point is actually doing their job already, right? Ensuring that the immigrants in the United States are going back to their various countries. But now you're bringing a technology that will actually easily detect when if this person is not a United States citizen. Exactly. I mean, I feel like, Trump is actually really big and is really serious.
Some of our brothers.
Coming back.
Welcome home.
Welcome home, Martin. All right, so the last headline there says, a vivid window into life of the Middle East drawn open by a French cartoonist. And this one says a cultural piece about a French cartoonist's artistic lens on life in the Middle East. And that's literally all I have for you on the New York Times. Thank you.
Thank you for taking us abroad and giving us some bit of good news and stuff like that. I'm going to be taking us through the last paper for this morning, and that is the Vanguard newspaper. The headline reads, FX spending on foreign education, health defy Naira depreciation, rises by 26% to $2.3 billion in 9 months. Beside that, we have on sports, World Cup fever, ex-internationals express fears. Below that, we also have Army commander, 21 soldiers killed in Borno terrorist attack, 70 insurgents killed, says GHQ. Below that, we also have Brazil slams US after dozens of deportees arrive handcuffed. Beside that, we also have 25 dead as explosion hits mining site in Niger State. Above the headlines, we have Zenith Bank raises over 350 billion naira in rights issue. Public offer. The last but not the least story here says Bauchi governor Foreign Minister Bika says to Tinubu, I want to talk about this 25 dead as explosion hits mining site. I think we have had this over and over again where miners are dying, illegal people are going to mining sites and they're not properly, going the right way. But it now reminded me of one story I saw over the weekend of this Enugu explosion that happened. And the graphic context of that video, I could not bear seeing it, and so many people were posting it on their WhatsApp. And trust me, I was just texting people, please take it down, please take it down. Of course, maybe you are informing the people, but the look of it was too devastating for me to see. I saw human beings being burnt like. I just thought about when we used to try to burn meat and then how it looked like. And at some point, I felt like I think I should become vegetarian because the thoughts, I just feel like the thoughts will keep aligning with what I saw over the weekend. So I'm very sad that a lot of people lost their lives due to these things, but it also falls on why we Nigerians need to start watching the things that we do, the kind of choices that we make. They said they wanted to go and get petrol from the leaking tank.
This happens all the time.
And we
have seen a lot of people die from this. But when there's another leakage again, people will still
I trust to tell you that Nigerians really feel that they are smart. And that's what happens.
I agree on
this person did it to survive. They will tell you that they are part of that 1%.
Don't they read the news? I wish they can watch this video.
But I just told you that they say that they are part of that 1%. I want to promise you that if something happens tomorrow, another tank is leaking, you will still see a number of people. But look at the loads of people from the young to the old to the youths being burnt alive by that explosion. And the thing was really bad that, well, we Nigerians, we also know how to take videos where there's possibility of saving people. Or people will take the video while you are burning. Hey, God. And then they'll be narrating the story. Hey, God, this one is burning.
Right now.
Something is happening right now. So I feel like we Nigerians need to also think that beyond reporting this news, we should also look at safety, survival.
Is to save people. If you can.
Don't say that, now you go there, so you will burn and I'm just going to report it. Well, that's all we have for today. When we go on a break right now, we'll come back with the topic for today. Stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on Ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back to the show. As mentioned earlier, the topic is the role of social media in shaping public perception. That is journalism versus propaganda. What is propaganda? What is journalism? We're going to be dissecting the differences and how it relates to social media this morning. But we'll be narrowing this down to Nigeria. Social media has revolutionized the way information is disseminated and consumed in Nigeria, with millions of Nigerians actively using platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Social media has become a significant influencer of public perception. However, the line between journalism and propaganda has become increasingly blurred, raising concerns about the impact of social media on public discourse. Social media has several features that make it an effective tool for shaping public perception. Its wide reach, for example, social media platforms have a vast user base, allowing information to spread quickly and reach a larger audience. It enables real-time updates and discussions, making it an ideal platform for breaking news, live events, and more. While social media has democratized information dissemination, it has also created opportunities for propaganda and disinformation. Social media platforms have struggled to contain the spread of fake news, which can be deliberately created to mislead or manipulate public opinion. Social media algorithms can create filter bubbles that reinforce user existing biases, making it difficult for them to encounter diverse perspectives. Finally, social media influencers can be paid to promote specific agendas or products, blurring the line between journalism and advertising. The consequences of social media's influence on public perception in Nigeria are multifaceted, from misinformation to erosion of trust. The blurred lines between journalism and propaganda is exactly what we need to address. Well, we're supposed to have a guest this morning, but we'll be taking it strictly to the girls. I'll start with God's Beauty. I know that she doesn't want me to start with her, but I'm going to start with God's Beauty because she's like the pro of journalism here. And then she's like the comrade of Nigeria. I call her comrade God's Beauty.
No way.
First off, when you think about public perception, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Especially when it relates to social media.
Public perception. I would literally say that, speaking to this whole topic thing now, I feel like most of the things on social media are actually aided by, what certain people in authority now want us to hear, right? When it comes to social media, most of the times, the truth or the news that we hear are actually not credible. And I feel like it's actually from, certain sources. And, media in quotes now, you hear that, there's a lot of bias, right? And that's how I see it. So once somebody is passing a certain information on social media, the first thing that comes to my head is, this one, if you don't go pay them. Even the people that are even speaking up right now. Which day was that? I was having a conversation with someone. And this, let me not mention name, but this person said, the reason why this woman is always talking about she's for the country, she's asking for the rights, is because during the time she wanted to enter the political space, they didn't allow her. So it's more like now, since they didn't want her, it's more like, okay, she has to do everything possible for them to see that she can also strive on her own. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So most of the times, even people that are coming out on social media to come and give us, you know, the news or let us see what's going on, I mean, they come out to be like the good figures. Trust me, most of them are actually doing that because of, you know, the particular places that they have put their hand and they were not allowed to. That's how I see it, actually.
So I like that you have mentioned biases. I don't know if Oluchi has something to say as regards
about biases.
Yeah, no. When you think about public
perception,
yeah.
Yeah, I think, as the word implies, how you want the public to perceive different information as it comes to them. And if we track it back to history and how information used to be spread, it has gotten better, but then it came with its own consequences as well. I mean, in the olden days, how do you spread information? Probably have town criers, you have mouth to mouth, and
that
the
was
community.
legit information.
Legit information.
Talking drum to other.
Exactly. And the, what's it called now? The community, they were not so much, like there were not a lot of people there. So you can even trace where particular information is coming from, who is giving the fake one, who has the real one. And then integrity was something that we can reckon with past, right? With the past people. So it has evolved. Different things have happened. Now, we can get information at our fingertips. On this show, we have a segment that talks about international news. We are not there, but we know what's happening there. And we have different stories that will elaborate and spread them. So public perception has really changed. The way I see different things today is based on how social media paints it to me. So there's usually the real story, what's really going on, and then there's how I want you to perceive this story. And this public perception, I think in recent times, it has caused, because I noticed that in recent times, a lot of Nigerians and people that use the internet generally have become more restless, more agitated, more angry, more scared, in fact, even very fearful. And I'm not talking just politics and governance, I'm talking health as well. I mean, the way, you know, different information about health is being passed across.
Just on Twitter, they were talking about paralysis,
it gets
psychosis, and all this. And I'm like, God,
what exactly is going on? Somebody said, if you're sick and you go on Google or go somewhere, maybe just listen to one of these health influencers talk about a particular illness you're feeling, you're going to have this, what they call this hypochondriac disease, where you would think you're having an ailment, but you're not having it. You'll be having all the symptoms. Why?
Like your
because
brain
of
will be
how
messing with you.
Exactly, your brain messes with you. How social media passes this thing. So social media, the internet generally has really changed how information passes to from one person to the other. And I'm glad that, yes, we can get information very swiftly now. We can get whatever is happening across the world very swiftly, but it has caused a lot of restlessness in a lot of people. And that's something I think we should stretch a bit more so that people can be much more calmer. Because I don't thrive in an environment that there's a lot of chaos, confusion, a lot of suggestions. It's a bit overwhelming, and that's what social media space is all about. And then, sadly enough, or fortunately enough, some of us have our work on this social media. We have to get our research from social media. We have to get ideas. If you want to start up something today, there are 1,001 people that have done this. So you want to innovate those ideas. So it's still that same social media that you're going to bank on. Now imagine having to pick gold in a forest that has a lot of thorns. It can be very difficult. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So public perception has changed. And if there's anything I want everybody to get from this show is we need to reduce the restlessness, the sadness, the agitation that is happening to a lot of people so that it can be better.
Bad news always travels faster than good news. And
Especially
if
here in
you even
Nigeria.
see that Meta, I think we already discussed it, that Meta even wants to remove the whole fact-checking thing out of so whether you spread fake news, you spread disinformation, misinformation, whatever information you are spreading,
Bad just seems to catch you more.
it's just that you are going to send that out, and whoever gets it gets it. Whoever doesn't. Whoever picks it up. I remember when they said that if you never kill, there was this trend, if they never kill one pastor that is praying in tongues, the rest no go calm down. And then people started taking it up. If they never kill one motivational speaker, the rest no go calm down. And then you see that people now took this thing up. I don't know how many news were even reported to the point that some people felt like, okay, let's start poisoning. They say if they never kill one man, the rest no go rest.
They said one Bini person, I think Bini people or the Edo guys, they fell prey to all of these things too. Yeah.
But then this is social media happening right now. And then somebody just woke up one morning, wrote that people picked it up and they started implementing it in their different fields, in their different lives. People took it from social media to real life. So now, how do we inform people to be able to differentiate between what is cruise, as we know it to be, and what is actual information? Even the idea that there are certain things that are not lawful that are being said on social media that people can do. But then you see that if you go and check in the books, it's not there. But then they'll say, I know my right, because one social media influencer said it. But then at the end of the day, when they now take you to court, you now realize that, and you, a social media influencer, people are going to jail. So that brings me to the idea or the thoughts that, how do we now balance the kind of news that we see? How do we differentiate between disinformation, misinformation, and fake news in general?
In general. Whilst we wait for bodies to help educate us properly, to ensure that regulation is done to avoid fake news and all of that, me, I like to consider solution from what I can do first of all. Because we can just put it out there and say the government, the people in charge of Facebook and Twitter and X and everything should ensure that there's fact-checking. Before that one happens, we know how long we've advocated for all of these things, and it takes a while. It takes a long period
when
for
they
it
want
to happen.
it to take a while.
Exactly, when they want it to. So that means we should start looking at solution from an individualistic point. So what can I do to ensure that I'm not an agent to propagate fake news? For example, I think that we should become more, would I say, objective in our judgment of news, and we should have different templates to which we judge certain stories. There are some stories that, there was one time I was with you on Gossip Gala, and we were talking about this Davido case. I've forgotten the whole context. Where, can you remind me? The Davido case where he had to say something bad about Nigeria, right?
Okay,
and I was telling you that
yes.
the reason why I will not subscribe to whatever he said or whoever is supporting him at that point is because he's a public figure that is expected to put on a certain front in public, because whatever he says will gain a lot of influence. So that means there should be different ways to which we judge issues as well. We should have our own moral compass to start seeing issues. Issues that are sensitive should get us slow to talking. Issues that are very, very sensitive should get us slow to talking. That's not when to now create agitation, because there's already a sensitive matter going on. I know that sometimes for you to allow advocacy really happen with sensitive things, maybe rape or abuse or death or, bribery, whatever fraudulent activity, you have to go with fire. That's how the right voices will hear it. But sometimes, if we go with that fire, even though you would have solved the problem, you would have caused more fire elsewhere that would be difficult to quench later.
That you might even be aware of.
Aware of, exactly. Let's even go very recent. Look at the whole NSAS, even the 2023 elections and many things that happened. As much as we loved not transparency, let me not use transparency now. Figure that out yourself. As much as we love the fact that information, I didn't have to watch the known TV stations to know exactly what was happening on my ex, on someone's story, on this person. I could see what was going on. But you must agree with me that at that time, a lot of fake news were going up and down. With results. In fact, even with the...
With pictures, with videos.
This is a bit sensitive, but the Lekki Toll Gate issue as well had different rumors, different facts to it, right? Yes. And I think that we could have been able to combat that particular one if people have moral compass through which they respond and judge issues. So starting with yourself, when you see a particular information and you know that this is very sensitive, this is tribal. It was here on Monday that we spoke about tribe, right? Yeah. You know that if I drop the wrong comment about tribe, I'm going to instigate somebody to be very violent. I'm going to instigate somebody to maybe want to now bring another fact because I'm already angry. I'm not going to cook up something that is fake and it will keep spreading. Even though I really want to advocate for, racial equality or whatever, I have to be careful because this is already sensitive. So our moral compass should help us become much more objective in responding to things. I'm not talking the government now. I'm not talking regulation bodies now. I'm talking you. When these stories get to your lap, how do you respond to them? How do you share them? Even when you want to advocate, are you instigating anger and restlessness in people again that will now make them go the wrong way to now spread it all around? So it starts from ourselves and our own perception to things. Sometimes when I even see some stories and I see that it's becoming a lot, I try just to just get away from it,
yeah.
right? If I want to comment on it, it means that I'm calm, so I'm commenting on it from a very calm point of view, and I'm looking at a 360. I'm not trying to pick a side, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to come to the journalist part and what, presenters, TV houses should do. But let's start from the normal man, the layman, the regular person that is on X. I mean, I know X comment section now is where people feel like they have the rights to say whatever.
Yeah.
On X, people have broken people's marriages on X. People have given comments about how a person should look like on X. See, you should have restrictions. When it comes to sensitive matters, let me mention them. Tribe is sensitive. Abuse is sensitive. Government issues are also sensitive, even though we need to advocate, I know. But even at that, we should know how we respond so that we don't instigate the wrong things that will not cause another fire, and whatever you're trying to quench will not be quenched.
Exactly. Well, I still want to hear from God's Beauty. I feel like she has a lot to say. But we need to go on a break right now. And when we return, yes, I want to hear from you, the audience, too. So when we return, we're going to talk about the roles that, as Oluchi already rightly mentioned, that we can do to combat fake news, disinformation, and not spread propaganda, across Nigeria. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Looking to take your business to the next level through partnerships? Then join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. for Partner Up.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, marketing, sales, or partnership professional, Partner Up is here to give you the tools you need to succeed.
From in-depth interviews with industry experts
to real-world case studies of successful partnership strategies that drive innovation and business growth.
We dive deep into what it takes to form successful partnerships.
Thursdays, 10 a.m.
Don't miss Partner Up.
Welcome back to the show. So we are talking about the role of social media in shaping public perception. That's the difference between journalism and propaganda. We've spoken about disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and how we can address these things. Now we have spoken about, as Oluchi already said, about what we can do, as individuals to manage information. Now let's talk about journalists and, broadcasters and these media outlets that always find a way to say, breaking news, any small thing, breaking news, grid has collapsed, and it collapsed like 300 times last year alone. But then every single time it comes up, you hear breaking news. Like the news is always breaking something.
The news is always breaking.
And then there's also this thing that when something happens in a state, you hear Benue man kills Igbo or Kogi woman in fights for lawsuit. They will try to cook it in a way that they know that they need clickbait for people to read those stories. And when you finish reading the story, you realize that nothing is there. They just cook up some
Like you said,
balderdash. Yes, I wanted to use that word.
That word.
They just cook up some nonsense, and then you just see that, okay, why was this story even put with this type of headline? What was the idea of the journalists to spread this thing? I think when we also had David Udehi, you will see that there's some journalists that are talking about them being at the risk of spreading the truth. And then there are some that they don't even care. The truth, though, it's not the truth, though. Let me just see one place that they have posted one video. That's all I need to, sell the news. And then you see that even media outlets also put their journalists on the edge, which means that there has to be some level of clicks that has to happen when you share a story. You see this story by Taiwo something, and they're expecting it to have like lots of views and comments. So that can also push journalists to start writing some nasty headlines. But this still falls back on putting Nigerians on the edge and letting Nigerians have some things with tribal views, with government policies, lack of information. They don't have an holistic view of what it is. When they even talk about empowerment, you just hear empowerment. We are to register 50 women for, what's it called?
It will be the tiny headline somewhere.
Exactly.
It will not be screaming.
Bottom left.
And when you finally click on it, there's no even link to even get to that place, except for advert. So where exactly do we now put journalists and media outlets accountable? Like, you need to be accountable for the kind of news that you spread. What do you think that we should tell them to do better when it comes to spreading news or informing the general public?
I think that's going to be quite hard. I'll first of all start with probably...
I've been shaking my
No,
head
that's the
since,
truth, because one, most of the people, let's even start, most of the people that have this media houses, they are already continuation. For those that know, well, continuation,
if
right?
You know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you don't
exactly.
forget about it.
So imagine having a big person owning a particular, a media house now. How do you think, certain information or certain news will be passed from the what do they call that? From the broadcasters or the journalists, right? Now, it now also go over to the fact that these media houses want to make money as well. These newspaper houses want to make money as well. Tell me why you will see probably something that happened, maybe something that happened in the Senate House. You see it as the major headline when it's not even the pressing issue in the country. You get what I'm saying? Sure. It's there because they want to sell something. You know that? I don't know if it still happens now. Where those people that sell newspaper, then you now see people cover. No be like that is supposed to happen. Exactly. Because trust me, that's like
we still have them today.
We do.
Yes,
we do actually. You know they come out. Go to all those typical markets where you see probably where they are entering buses or so. You will still see that gathering where not be like that. It's supposed to be not like this. And trust me, most of the media houses that do newspaper now, that is how they know that this news or these headlines are actually exactly. Yes. If nobody's talking about it, there's no arguments. They're like, this is not it. So I feel like those are like part of the things that these media houses they do in order for their businesses to trade. Exactly. So why I feel like the only thing that I can actually say is if probably the government, but again, if nobody is gaining from this thing, it will not be happening. So I just feel like this is actually going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard.
Honestly,
but if probably the government can come on in,
do you have a different view from God's Beauty?
Not exactly, because I understand the bias that plays in a lot of media houses.
That's what it is.
And if there's bias at the top, sometimes it can be a very hard one to deal with. But then I'm looking at the fact that since we have private journalists now, let's say private journalists or people that are independent, they do not submit, to these
biases.
Biases. I think we should. Now, that one can be very tricky as well.
Because it's tricky, actually.
How do you even want to...
Day, when you now pass certain information, be it a journalist or a whistleblower, by the time you now pass certain information, you now hear, how come you have with such documents?
Exactly.
Yes. So, I mean...
If I was going to say the public can now start putting their focus on maybe be their backbone and the support for these independent journalists, it might be a very hard one as well. I'm very sorry that I'm bringing you all the hard facts, but I'm looking at the reality of things and the biases that play. It's going to be a lot to tackle. But something else came to my mind. What if we start having international checks on these things? And I don't know, maybe... somehow, if we can fight for that now, because since there are a lot of biases at this tops, and it's difficult from our own level to sort it. But we still need to have these informations rectified. We need to have these biases reduced as much as possible.
Right.
If we can have them submit to something not federal now, because we're still doubting the accountability and everything and the transparency. If we have something international to rectify these things, or maybe
that would mean that you have to be out of the country. Because even if you come up to say that, oh, there should be an international body that is taking care of independent journalists and whistleblowers, your government will actually be against it, because somehow it's going to be, you know, fighting the constitution.
Because I really need to say that there's all we
have. It was in my head.
We have these foreign dialogues, all these things. We are partnering with the international, the abroadings, and all these things. These people, if you realize that these people are very much involved when it comes to elections, politics, governance, and everything. So how do you think that maybe an international body that is also trying to gain some level of ground in a space like Nigeria, how do you think that they will also report news? Do you think I want to report a news that's against the current government? So how do I thrive in that kind of, they say that it's just like TikTok. If they wake up tomorrow morning and says we're banning TikTok because it came from China, Nigeria can as well say that, oh, we're banning this media outlet, we are banning this because it came from this thing. They don't have the good of, you know, our nation at heart.
I've not heard of any media outlet that has been banned anywhere. Have you heard of any?
That have been what?
Like banned, maybe a particular media outlet has been shut down.
Some of them have died natural deaths. And I can tell you that they even sue some people. They will say that they are suing the media outlet because of defamation, because of this. Just like we still recently had the Farotimi's case, where he brought out some details about I've forgotten his name again.
Afe Babalola.
Yes, Afe Babalola. Thank you for that. Afe Babalola, and then he got arrested, and then there's still this whole back and forth going on. And you see that media outlets are giving different views of what they think about the case. Some who are in support of Afe Babalola is saying things like Farotimi should die in jail, he should do this, he should do that. Someone in support of Farotimi is saying that he was illegally arrested and all these things. So you see that biases is still there. We tell me that the international bodies have not heard that a case like this is happening. Because we are talking about the level of SANS. We're not talking about Kotoba.
So you're not saying that we are handicapped when it comes to solutions to this?
Well,
because if locally now, we are not trusting the solutions to come from there. We're not looking at maybe international, one big father somewhere is going to help. That means we can say we're handicapped.
I'll still say that we should keep falling back on the fact that our solution still belongs to us.
True.
It's not the international body. These guys colonized us. Like, it's something that I will never really forget. We still have a lot of artifacts.
That seems like when somebody wrongs you, like I will never forget.
I will never forget. You know when they say this like it all gets, we will never forget. This is me never forgetting the fact that we were colonized by these people. And there's still some of our most precious artifacts and all these things. With these guys, they say they are keeping it for us. But they shouldn't.
I didn't know they had such beef for them.
Yes, it's a low-key beef. I still respect you guys, but it's not something that...
Why did you colonize us?
Why did you colonize? Yes, exactly. Why did you colonize us?
Let me point something you mentioned about the solution being with us. And I think that the media houses should now be built on integrity. The whole point is that the masses, we're trusting you for this information. We are trusting that we will
They're saying the masses don't pay the bills. if to keep the lights on, to keep the...
keep running
the media outlet, or even your career as a journalist, how do you say that I'm in support of the masses?
Exactly.
It's also in the cases that if what's his name? If Udeyi will say that the masses did nothing for him in terms of safety, because this is him having to run for his life, and then he cannot even disclose where he is.
If not, you go disclose.
No, obviously not. But then this is saying that the masses cannot necessarily protect you. Like you even he also mentioned that you throw the truth to the masses. They will still use their own hand to now start dissecting what part. So the masses also has their own perception to how they want to see whatever information that you give them. So now it still falls back to us that while media outlets and all these people will say what they want to say, how well do we
manage this
manage information? What are the things that go through our heads? So do we need like a reorientation of what it is, or we need this thing that they'll say when they're doing census, they'll not say 1,000 people from Abule Egba come to this training center. Let us teach you how to manage information, because there's not enough, advocacy or even conferences or whatever going on to how we can manage information. The most leading causes of violence or anything is majorly the kind of information that I heard about. Even growing up, what kind of information did you hear about Yoruba people? So therefore, that will shape your mindset of
I heard
how
that Yoruba people don't like people. That's what I heard.
Do you get it? You heard it. But then this is probably you thriving with a Yoruba person. You've been with the person. And like, it's not really that bad. You understand? But some people, even they know that it's not really that bad. They'll still say, you're trying to trick me. You're a trickster. You get, so how do we manage? I want us to put it together that even we are journalists ourselves, because immediately you report a news, you're automatically somebody who is a journalist, maybe not by profession, but you're reporting a news to the public. So how do we manage ourselves either way to make sure that if you report a bad news, rather than coming to say, you are foolish for doing, those vulgar words, how do I now like share a link of the truth, or now analyze the truth if I have enough strength to analyze the news for you, so that you can see that there are different sides to this thing?
See, Nigerians also, what is this particular word they use? We should not motivate some of these bloggers or vlogs, these individual people, right? Individual blogs that propagate bad news. There are some people that we have caught. We know that you have actually released a particular false information before now. Nigerians will probably clamor on that. After a while, they forget it and will still go back to that particular platform to get more information. You are indulging them in that sense. And you give them that authority that, I can still give you another bobo, you swallow it, move on to the next. If we can now start unfollowing those pages, like cancelling them, you don't have to follow blogs that have constantly showed you that they've given you wrong information. And talking about outlets, I would say that not all media outlets are biases. Are biased, pardon my English. Not all media outlets are biased. We still have media outlets that are still propagating the truth.
For example, Way's Breakfast, hashtag,
what are you saying?
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
So that means that channels that still have that integrity and that intention to want to spread the right information and change narratives, shape narratives, should not fall under any sort of pressure because they want to appeal to what societal standards look like. So that means the onus now lies on these channels, these platforms, to ensure that I will be true to the cause I started with initially. Do you understand? So while I told you already, this advocacy thing, maybe today starts. We've been talking about it, the government, the international bodies, you as a person, but if we can now start managing these ones that are doing well, encouraging them, ensuring that they themselves also stay true to the information that they started with. Because sometimes, I'm sure that some channels that are biased now, some stations that are biased now, they probably didn't start out as biased.
Of course.
Probably they really had great intention, but something happened, somebody penetrated somewhere, one bad egg somewhere, and that's what's happening, and it has tainted their images, right?
Exactly.
So what do? We ensure that the ones that have started, you have the tendency to fall out. Don't think that, like the Bible will say, don't say that you cannot fall, because you have that tendency to fall when the pressure starts coming. So you need to stand your ground. Integrity needs to be at the forefront of passing out information.
Well, thank you very much. I think Oluchi already said it all.
I didn't say it all.
I said you have. God's Beauty and I already agreed with you.
Yes, we agree.
So whatever it is that you are spreading on social media, my own advice is always confirm that it is the truth and you're not trying to promote whatever kind of propaganda. Thank you for joining us on today's show. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Bye-bye.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?